Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. Recently, I did a talk about how conductors really ought not to make complete symphony cycles of composers who wrote many such works if they don't feel equally charged up or fabulous about all of the works in the cycle, because they should only do the things that they really know how to do well. I mean, not that they're ever going to be able to judge and they think they do everything well, and there are all kinds of politics, as you pointed out, with record labels and other things involved. It's not so simple. But this is the theory. I mean, it's a theoretical proposition. I think it made a lot of sense, and we had a very interesting talk about it. So I thought I would follow that up with a list of 10 fabulous, absolutely first-rate singleton performances by conductors who did not go on to make symphony cycles from the composers in question. And I think, again, if you want to add something to the list, that's fine, as long as the conductor did not make a complete cycle of whatever works we're dealing with. So let's get to it, shall we? Number 1, Mahler Symphony No. 2 with Herbert Blomstedt and the San Francisco Symphony. This was the only Mahler symphony Blomstedt did in San Francisco, and it's fabulous. It's wonderfully well recorded. It's exciting. It's spectacularly played. It's intense and beautiful and spiritual and lovely, and it has all of the fabulous qualities for which Blomstedt is famous. And we know he should not have gone on to do a Mahler cycle, because subsequently he's issued a few Mahler recordings with other orchestras, including a 9th fairly recently that was quite mediocre. And maybe it's because he's like 150, so, 30 years ago it might have been good, but the reason doesn't matter. What matters is we have this marvelous Mahler 2, and we can enjoy it without having to worry about what would have happened had he done all the rest of them. Not that stuff won't be coming, whether he wants it to or not, because he plays everything like most conductors. And who knows what's buried in these orchestra archives waiting to erupt on his passing, or even before. Who knows? Next, Nielsen Symphony No. 4, the Inextinguishable, which some people call the Undistinguishable or the Inaccountable, or whatever you want to call it. A brilliant work. Jean Martinon and the Chicago Symphony. Oh my goodness. Who would have thought that this French guy could make such a magnificent recording of Nielsen's 4th? It was the only Nielsen symphony he ever recorded in Chicago. Maybe he played the others. I don't know. Fortunately, we don't have to find out. Now, he was a brilliant conductor. He might have done great, Nielsen. Who knows? He could have. I mean, he did a great Mahler 3rd, too. So, you never know. But there's only this one Nielsen 4, and we can savor it individually. Next, Karajan. Karajan, the king of cycles, at least if it was German music. But if it wasn't German music, he did a whole bunch of singleton performances, and I picked out his Decca Vienna Dvorak 8th. One of the absolute reference recordings in that work. It was a piece he felt very strongly about. Now, he did do the New World Symphony, not as well. He did record the 8th 4 times, at least 3, 4, who knows, because he did everything over and over and over again. But there were these singleton recordings. There was the Shostakovich 10th, there was the Prokofiev 5th. He picked one that was outside of his Fach and gave it the treatment. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Here it worked really, really well. This is just a wonderful performance. And you can tell that he had a lot of feeling for it. And he's got Vienna playing magnificently, and Decca recorded it magnificently. And we don't have to hear him do anything but the New World, which we can ignore. And we know it's a good idea. He did not do all the Dvorak symphonies. When Berlin did a Dvorak cycle, they got Raphael Kubelik. Yay! That was the guy, not Karajan. Next, Schumann Symphony No. 3, the Rhenish, with Günter Wand, of all people. Now, he only recorded that we know of, or that we have on RCA, numbers 3 and 4. I think he did a Spring Symphony at one point in his career. I don't remember, or the second. I don't know. But there is no complete Schumann cycle from his late career, when he was doing the same thing over and over and over and over ad nauseum. There's only these 2 Schumann symphonies, and the Rhenish is the outstanding one. It is a magnificent performance of Schumann's 3rd. And I'm so happy that we don't have numbers 1 and 2. That's delightful, so we don't have to deal with that. And remember, he did cycles. He did the Schubert symphonies. He did the Bruckner symphonies. He did the Beethoven symphonies. He did the Brahms symphonies twice. He did cycles. But Schumann, for some reason, not. And the not is the point, isn't it? Next, Sibelius Symphony No. 3, Ali Mustonen on Ondine. Boy, is this in one-off disc, if ever there was a one-off disc. First of all, Mustonen is not by career choice a conductor. He's a pianist. And the coupling, the coupling from Sibelius' third is Hindemith's The Four Temperaments for piano and strings. Splendid performance of that. Mustonen does amazing. Hindemith, he's done quite a bit. But this Sibelius third is a light, breezy chamber orchestra type performance. Absolutely lovely. And Mustonen has done no other Sibelius symphonies, which is great, especially because he's a Finnish guy. And they gravitate towards Sibelius, not just because they may or may not have a feeling for it, but because the record labels did force them and push them to do complete cycles because they're Finnish and Sibelius is Finnish, and therefore they're fantastic at anything Finnish. They love their Finalicious Finosity. But not here. There's only Sibelius third, and the third, not even a popular Sibelius symphony. Yay, way to go, Ollie. That's wonderful. So next, another Dvorak, Symphony No. 7 with Bernstein in the New York Philharmonic. Another generic conductor, right? He did everything. He does everything, and he made cycles of, God knows what, Sibelius and Mahler and Beethoven and Brahms and Schumann twice, He redid everything for Deutsche Grammophon just about. There's tons and tons and tons of duplicative cyclical stuff. But for Dvorak, for some reason, most conductors at least do 7, 8, and 9. I mean, that's sort of the standard thing. But Bernstein never did the 8th. His New World is a knockout. It's one of the reference recordings on that. And he did a slam inversion of the 7th, of all things. I mean, that's just so odd to have 7 and 9 and nothing else in Dvorak. But his 7th is fabulous, first rate, one that people tend to overlook because Bernstein never made a point of being a Dvorakian. He wasn't. Dvoraknik, I guess you would call it in Slavic. But no, he did these 2 symphonies, and the 7th is first class. Absolutely first class. And there is no 8th. Way to go, Lenny. That's the thing. Next, Shostakovich Symphony No. 10 with Ancerl and the Czech violin Supraphon. Now, of course, in the 1950s and 60s, no Czech conductor was going to do a complete Shostakovich symphony cycle. I mean, there wasn't even a complete Shostakovich symphony cycle because he hadn't written a batch of them. So there was a limit to what you could do. But wow, that Shostakovich 10th, it is the reference recording in Shostakovich 10th is like the most exciting thing ever. It's in mono, but very good mono. It's a knockout performance. And he did do more Shostakovich. I mean, he did the cello concerto. He did the first symphony. He did the fifth symphony. But this 10th, when it was brand new, is just a few years old, is unbelievably fabulous. Really better than anything the Russians were doing, including Ravinsky. I kid you not. And it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now, it wouldn't, like I said, it wouldn't have become a cycle anyway. But wow, what an incredible singleton performance that one is. Oh, wow. Next, Mahler again. Symphony No. 1, Muti and Philadelphia. That's on EMI-Warner. This is the only Mahler symphony that Muti ever recorded, as far as I know, for a major label. I mean, like made a Mahler recording. Again, today we have to be careful because archives are busting open. Orchestras are issuing their own recordings of live concerts. Anything anybody did is fair game. And so you can't really judge a conductor's career based solely on what they did for major labels today. But that's what our criterion is here for the sake of argument, because those are the recordings that get or got issued and sold and promoted and stuck in the jumbo boxes with, devoted to the conductor in question. And Mahler 1 was the only one he did. And it's terrific. It's terrific because it's the only one he did, because it has all of that tension and energy and discipline for which Muti is well known, of course. But he didn't do any others. There are no others. Would he have done excellent other Mahler symphonies? Possibly. Happily, we will never find out. We have plenty of other excellent Mahler symphonies. We don't have to deal with it. Next, Brahms Symphony No. 2, Pierre Monteux on Philips, now Decca. Now this was, people are sad. Oh, so sad, because Monteux loved Brahms. He was famous for doing the Rite of Spring and Petrushka. He didn't even care for them particularly. He wanted to do Brahms, but everybody was doing Brahms in the early 60s, and he wasn't known for Brahms, so he only had the opportunity to do that one symphony. It's a beautiful, lyrical, sunny, organically conceived, luscious performance. Absolutely beautiful. And Monteux, a guy who I have a feeling would have done a terrific Brahms third, who really would have gotten it, And, well, no, he didn't. He didn't make it for a major label. It was only the second. That is his only surviving Brahms symphony. There's very little other Brahms by him. There's a piano concerto with, who was it? What's his name? Julius Katchen, I think, and some other stuff. But basically, what we have of Monteux' Brahms is this second symphony, representative of what he hoped to do. And a wonderful representative it is, and we can imagine in our own brains what the rest would have sounded like if we feel so inclined. And last but not least, oh wow, one of the great singleton recordings of anything ever, George Szell in Cleveland doing Sibelius Symphony No. 2. That was his Sibelius. He did more in his live Cleveland boxes. There's a 7th. I think there's a 4th out there somewhere. He did do other Sibelius symphonies, but the only thing he formally recorded was No. 2 for Philips. And then there's that live Suntory Hall Tokyo recording that was issued posthumously. It was one of his last concerts ever before he died of cancer at a fairly young age. He was like 70, I think. But they did that live one in Tokyo, which is just as incredible, maybe even better than his formal studio recording, which is for with the Concertgebouw on Philips, now Decca, usually coupled on CD with that Singleton Beethoven Fifth, although there, of course, is a Beethoven cycle with Szell. But that Sibelius 2 is, what is there to say? I mean, the guy just nails it. He nails it to the post. It's thrilling. It's thrilling in every possible way. And I think he would have been a terrific Sibelius conductor. I really do. And we have some evidence of that in some of these other singleton performances. But nope, well, all we have formally is Sibelius 2. And thank God for that. And do I miss all the other ones? Of course not. There are billions of fantastic Sibelius symphonies out there. So there you go. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Singleton performances by conductors who, for whatever reason, either felt no inclination or had no opportunity to complete the cycle of which these might have been a part. And we're lucky we have what we have, and it's fine that we don't have anything else. So keep on listening, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care.